feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Brian Giles with Brian Giles MTG. And we're back with more Fallout spoilers. Starting our list off today with the reprint of some of the talismans. So, Talisman of Conviction, 2 mana for an artifact that says tap it to add colors, or tap it to add a red or a white, and it deals 1 damage to you. Then we have Talisman of Hierarchy, 2 mana for an artifact that reads tap it to add a colorless, or tap it to add white or black, and it deal 1 damage to you. Hiccup. We have Talisman of Indulgence, which is 2 mana. For an artifact that reads, tap it to add a colorless, or tap it to add a black or a red, and it deals 1 damage to you. We have another land, Talisman, Canyon Slow, Swamp Mountain. Tap it to add a black or a red. It enters the battlefield tap, and you can cycle it for 2. We have Dragon Skull Summit. Land enters the battlefield tap unless you control a swamp or a mountain. Tap to add a black or a red. Another one of the check lands. Isolated Chapel, another check land. It enters the battlefield tap unless you control plains or a swamp. Tap it to add white or black. Memorial to Glory. Land enters the battlefield tapped. Tap it to add a white mana, or pay a white and 3 and sacrifice it to create 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. Then we have Myriad Landscape. Of course, I don't expect this to see in a commander deck. So, enters the battlefield tapped. Tap to add a colorless, or pay 2. Tap it, sacrifice it, search your library for 2 basic land cards that share a land type, and put them on the battlefield. Tap, then shuffle. Nomad Outpost. So, Nomad Outpost is a land. Enters the battlefield tapped. Tap it to add a red, white, or black. Next up, we have Shadowblood Ridge land. Pay 1, tap it, sacrifice a black and a red. Don't sacrifice. Yeah, I'm so used to saying sacrifice. So just pay 1, tap to add black and red. So, Smoldering Marsh, Swamp Mountain, tap to add a black or a red, and enters the battlefield lets you control 2 or more basic lands. Tainted Field, land, tap it to add a color, so tap to add a white or a black. Activate only if you control a swamp. Don't recall that land, but this is Tainted Peak land. Tap it for a colorless, or tap it to add a black or a red. Activate only if you control a swamp. I don't remember these tainted lands. Somebody will have to remind me on this. Okay, here's the Temple of Malice, another reprint. Enters the battlefield tapped, and when he enters the battlefield, you scry 1. Tap a tad black and red. Temple of Silence. Not surprised to see that. Enters the battlefield taps, and when he enters the battlefield, you scry 1 and tap a tad white or black. Next up is Windbrisk Heights. This is different, because I know they didn't have this land before. So it's a land with Hideaway 4. When it enters the battlefield, the top 4 cards of your library and exile 1 face down at the bottom in a random order. The rest of the battle is your library in a random order. You enter the battlefield tapped. You can tap it to add a white, pay a white. You may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost if you attack with 3 or more creatures. Whoa! Holy shnikes! Okay. Hoo-ha! Oh! Taking a hideaway mechanic from Streets of New Capenna and using it in a dirty ass way. Hoo-ha! This land is gonna go somewhere. Oh, yeah. We have Atomize, which is black and green and 2 for an instant reads, destroy target non-land permanent and proliferate. Ew, fun. Specimen 73. The reskin of the Hornet Queen. So 3 green and 4 for a 2/2 insect with Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, you create 4 1/1 green insect creature tokens with flying and Death Touch. Okay. Nuke Launcher. 2 mana for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+0 and has Intimidate, which means it can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and creatures that share a color with it. Whenever an equipped creature attacks until the end of defending player's next turn, that player gets 2 red counters whenever they cast a spell. Equipped for 3. Ew, that sounds fun. Next up, we have Lily Bowen, Raging Grandma. So green and 3 for a 0/0 legendary mutant warrior with vigilance. She enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, double the number of +1/+1 counters on Lily Bowen if its power is 16 or less. Otherwise, remove all but 1 +1/+1 counters from it, and then you gain 1 life for each +1/+1 counter removed this way. Ew, she can be fun. She gets bigger each turn, and then you gain a bunch of life, and she goes back to practically 0. Hoo-ha. Now this is Piper Wright, Public Reporter. A blue and 1 for a 1/2 legendary human detective. Whenever Piper Wright deals combat damage to a player, investigate that many times. So you create a clue token. And whenever you sacrifice a clue, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. So she can be, she should have really been in Murders of Karloff Manor. That would have made that deck so much more fun. Next up, we have the Master Transcendent. So that's going to be in the Wise Mothman deck as the alternate commander. So he's a black, a green, and blue, and 1 for a 2/4 legendary artifact creature mutant. When it enters the battlefield, target player gets 2 rad counters. Tap it to put a creature card in a graveyard that was milled this turn onto the battlefield under your control. It's a green mutant with base power and toughness 3/3. Ew! So you get a 3/3 mutant copy of a creature. It loses all its other creature types. So you get a 3/3 mutant from somebody's graveyard. So definitely some graveyard hate there. Ew, fun. Lumbering Mega Sloth. Oh, a sloth? 2 green and a beefy 10 for 8/8 sloth mutant. But it costs 1 generic less to cast for each counter among players and permanents. Again, this is going to be in that Mothman deck. So it has trample and it enters the battlefield tapped. But this is the battlefield winner. This is the battle game winner. I love how it's on a road that says slow. Next up, we have Harold and Bob First Nummons. So green and 2 for a 3/3 legendary tree folk mutant. Okay, some tree folk love. Has vigilance and reach. When it dies, if it was a creature, return to the battlefield. It's an aura enchantment with Enchant Forest to control. And Enchanted Forest has tap to add 3 mana of any one color. You get two rad counters. Harold and Bob loses all other abilities. Okay, so when it dies, it becomes a creature enchantment. You get the downside of 2 rad counters, but you can add 3 mana of any one color. So some mana ramping. Hoo-ha, interesting. So Vault 12, the Necropolis. Beefy 2 black and 4 for Enchantment Saga. In Chapter 1, each player gets 3 rad counters. Chapter 2, create X 2/2 black zombie mutant creature tokens where X is the total number of rad counters among players. Well, if you're playing 4, at a minimum, four people in a commander game, you get 8 zombies. And then Chapter 3, put 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control that's a zombie or a mutant. Oh ho. This is a dirty one. This is people are gonna love this Wise Mothman deck. So next up is Elder Owen Leons. So he's a white and a blue and 2 for a 3/3 human knight. Artifacts you control have Ward 1. When he enters the battlefield or dies, return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. That's pretty decent. You can definitely slot him, and because of his color base, you can slot him in an Azorius like Urza artifact build. Hoo-ha! Next up, we have Jason Bright, Glowing Prophet. So he's a blue and 2 for a 2/3 zombie mutant advisor. So a zombie mutant, a 2/3 zombie mutant, legendary zombie mutant advisor. Whenever a zombie or a mutant you control dies, if its power was different from its base power, draw a card. Well, this is gonna be in the Mothman deck where you're putting counters and stuff on stuff. It has Come Fly With Me. Pay 2, sacrifice a creature, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It gains flying till end of turn. Okay. So you can it gets card draw. So its second ability allows you to set off its first ability because you get a card draw, and you sacrifice the creature because you sacrifice the creature. You know, if you sacrifice the creature, it has a +1/+1 counter on it, and it gains flying till end of turn. So, hoo-ha, that's interesting. Next up, you got Mirelurk Queen. A blue and 4 for a 4/4 crab mutant. Ooh, some crab love. Has vigilance. But in its battlefield, target player gets 2 rad counters. Okay. Whenever one or more non-land cards are milled, draw a card, then put a +1/+1 counter on Mirelurk Queen. This ability triggers only once each turn. Okay, so she gets bigger. This will fit in any kind of mill deck. You've got. Ooh, this sounds fun. So it's another Millmaster crab. Everybody hates mill crabs. Next up is another reskin of Grave Titan, West Tech Tyrant for 2 black and 4. You get a 6/6 giant with Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, create 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. Now, I'm not certain. Please, in the comments, give me some sort of clarification. I thought that Grave Titan was banned in Commander, but again, please correct me. Next up, we have Infesting Radroach. Okay, so it's a black and 2 for a 2/2 insect mutant with flying. It can't block. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, they get that many red counters. Okay. Whenever an opponent mills an online card if infesting Radroach is in your graveyard, return to your hand. Okay, I kind of expected that because roaches don't die. Yeah. Screeching Scorchbat. Okay, it's a beefy 2 black and 4, but you get a 5/5 bat mutant with flying and menace. When it attacks, each player gets 2 rad counters. Whenever one or more non-land cards are milled, they create that many 2/2 black zombie mutant creature tokens. Do this only once each turn. Okay, so a big beefy bat that does rad things. Rad things. Next up, another reprint, but I'm not surprised considering the decks in Branching Evolution. So, green and 2 for Enchantment of the Reeds. If one or more +1/+1 counters will be put on a creature control, twice that many +1/+1 counters are put on that creature instead. Ew, fun. We have Cathedral Acolyte. This is an interesting card. So, green and 1 for 1/2 human cleric. Each creature you control with a counter on it has Ward 1. Tap until it put a +1/+1 counter on target creature that enters the battlefield this turn. Ew, fun. This guy's fun all the way around. So, creatures enter the battlefield. You can tap this dude, put an immediate +1/+1 counter on it, and they gain Ward 1 from it. Ew, so fun. Of course, okay, we got Cultivate because you need more mana ramping. Sorcery, search your library for 2 basic land cards, reveal those cards, put one on the battlefield tapped, and the other in your hand, shuffle. And Farseek, because more mana ramping, so pay a green and 1, and a sorcery. Search your library for a plains, island, swamp, or mountain card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. So that's it for right now. We're at over 21 minutes. We're going to say hoo-ha, see you on the next video.